Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this tournament showdown. It's going to be Tzeentch led by Flying Taco, facing off against the Tomb Kings, who are going to be helmed by Commissar Planet here on Chateau de Roquefort, one of our new Total Tavern maps. Shout out to Waka Waka. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you, these are the Blue Scribes. So Blue Scribes, if you guys don't know, they generate basically, I believe, how many ever spells it is? I think it's 6. Every single time they cast a spell, they get a new range of spells. So it's really funny and really fun to use actually, but they're very overpriced. CA could probably reduce their price by like 400 or so, and I would think that would be kind of, I mean, that would still probably be a little bit overpriced, but even still, yeah, they're still cool. I mean, you can get some good utility. Like, for example, you could get like a Rancid Visitations and then a Spirit Leech and like snipe characters. You can get summons, you can get like buffs. It's one of the most fun units in the DLC to use in multiplayer for sure. Now, for the front line of Taco, the rest of the build is going to be pretty solid here. We do have Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, and these guys are great. Typically against Tomb Kings, you don't need armor piercing in the front line because their max armor is, I think, like 55 on their infantry units. So just going for basic shielded Chaos Warriors for the durability the shields provide in terms of melee defense, and their grinding power is ideal. Now we have Sour Guts back here. I haven't really seen these utilized too much. I know they do explode when they lose models, so I'll be keeping an eye on if they get dove and seeing what kind of damage they return. Pinks here, Village on the ground. Village just going to be a combat character, so basically like a Walmart version of Sigvald. And in the bushes, we do have a couple of the new Zangors. So Zangors are great against Tomb Kings, right? Fast, furious, they hit hard, they can bully most of the Tomb King's infantry. What's not to love? Now for the Tomb King champion here, it is going to be Commissar. He does have some Skeleton Horsemen for a little bit of poke and scouting and utility. I don't hate it. Frontline Skeleton Spears with some archers, the Blessed Legion of I always feel like I'm going to curse when I say that last part. We used to call them the Blessed Legion of Demonetization here, but they do have armor sundering, which is useful against Tzeentch. Tzeentch does have a fair amount of armor. And the Hekar Warriors, backed up by Tomb Guard Halberds, which are an excellent choice in my opinion. I do like the armor piercing they provide against Tzeentch, and they just have good stats to boot, so that's pretty much going to be it. The kit, of course, is going to be a Tomb King, not Cetra, going a little bit cheaper here. We do have a Tomb King, and I think the caster is a Lore of Light caster to net down any of those elusive Tzeentchian units and or protect your backfield. So right out of the gates, we do see some shooting. The Blue Scribes do have a shooting attack. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but even still, it can be annoying. You get a little bit of poke, and might as well scrap any sort of value you can. So Taco doing some scooting and shooting, as I believe that shot at the tree line there, the dreaded tree defense. We've all felt its wrath once before. So far side objective going to be grabbed by Zangors, which is smart. Individually, Zangors will bully most Tomb King's infantry units. The only one that could probably hang with them would be like a Tomb Guard Halberd or the Kepra Guard, I would wager. So it doesn't look like either of those are going to be sent to this side. And on this objective, we have an ambush waiting. So 2 Zangors in the tree lines looking to dump out and cause a little bit of havoc. But the Blue Scribes still dipping and dodging and juking. They're very squishy though. They only have 3,500 HP, as well as, you know, a little bit of armor at 20. So they can definitely get melted quickly if you're not careful. In the meantime, the pinks could be used to range out these skeleton archers or at least push them back, but they're going to be shooting at Village, and Village doesn't really care. He's very tanky. 80 armor, 55 melee defense, and of course does have that regenerating Protoss shields taken straight from StarCraft, so he knows how to heal and knows how to, you know, survive. So Daka from the pinks goes in and melts those skeleton horse archers, and they're going to be forced back here. On the other side, Screamer's going to be looping around the other side. Screamers are MVPs in this matchup. They can shut down Ushabti Great Bows, the various horseman units. You really need to bring them. So Blue Scribes are posturing, and I'm going to basically forsake the rest of the strategy and commentary in this battle, and we're just going to be watching what the Blue Scribes do. I mean, I'm of course joking, but we'll try closely to keep an eye on what the Blue Scribes are up to. Far side objective, Zangors are not going to grab that. It looks like there's a Ushabti counter push, which is a good idea. Ushabti can bully Zangors, so I do like that pick here from our mighty Tomb King's champion. And looking at the Blue Scribes, it looks like they're trying to set up to cast something on one of the characters here, maybe the Lich Priest, so probably going to be some funny business like that. Blue shooting in, Zangors ambushing from both sides, Chaos Warriors preparing to battle the Halberds in the front line, while the Sour Guts do some respectable damage against these guys, and it looks like the Blue Scribes here are going to be dropping a sweet Rancid Visitations, which is an incredibly powerful sniping spell. So now the Blue Scribes have an entire new kit of spells, so we'll see what they end up doing with their next range of magic here. In the meantime, net going down to the backfield, so a net counterplay here from the Tomb Kings, going to be trying to lock down the Blue Scribes, but they're still a bit of a tough target, and the Blessed Legion normally would do great damage against them, but the Blessed Legion is actually being dove here by Screamers, which means many of their models aren't shooting, and the Ushabti Great Bows just now turned around and will rip a couple shots. That's actually really substantial. They take about 20% HP from that one volley. Just imagine if the Blue Scribes, not the Blue Scribes, but the Screamers hadn't been able to shut down those archers. Now on the other side, the Ushabti pretty much bully it, but Taco's going to be able to easily win this fight. Screamers are super hard counter against these Ushabti. They'll move in, they'll cut them to pieces, and then the Zangors will move back in, and there's also some pink support here, so that firepower will help melt those guys down. In the middle, looks like Tomb King's infantry really showing their mettle as they do grind down these skeletons. The Tomb Prince, in the meantime, or the Tomb King. He's a king. He's a prince. He's not a prince. He's a king. The King's going to move in, and he's a good tool here. The big Sphinxes in general are pretty excellent at killing armored infantry units, but it looks like he's trying to snipe village, which is, I think, a bit of a... I mean, you could go for it, but I can't help but think going after the infantry here would be stronger and trying to terror out them off. Meanwhile, the blue scribes still cackling about. I'm not really sure what ended up happening to them, but here it looks like the Ushabti are going to be taken down by the Screamers, as well as the Zangors there, so that's going to be a win for the forces of old Tzeentch. And we do see the Prince moving in, now getting nice charges into the Zangors, making his way back towards the Pinks, while the blue scribes are just Benny Hilling up in the sky, essentially running away here from the Carrionists. Value trading's pretty close. Tomb Kings do own the middle objective. Far side is owned by Tzeentch, and on this side it looks like it is owned by the Tomb Kings as well. So Tomb Kings do have a double cap. The value trading does favor the forces of the Tomb Kings a little bit. Granted, they don't have Lore of Nehekara, so their only healing is going to be Realm of Souls, which isn't like a ton. It's not bad, but it's not enough to really be like, wow, look at the value difference because of the healing. But the Ushabti here being dragged down to the back by Screamers, not a great trade for sure. There needs to be some sort of Nehekar Horseman or Skeleton Horseman kind of peeling those bad boys off. But unfortunately, those Ushabti Grapos for our Tomb Kings player here are just going to pay the price. And we see Zangors just being excellent, right? Their high stats, their charge bonus really helps them tear through skeletons. And honestly, even in their very tattered state, Zangors, oh no, these are Kepler Guard. I thought they were Nehekar Warriors, but yeah, they're going to be able to beat down those Zangors and probably reclaim that point, unless something else gets involved here. Up in the sky, we see a net going down to the Screamers, while the Tomb King, I keep some Prince, the Tomb King continues bouncing around, getting okay DPS wherever he goes. And there was some sort of witchcraft going down. Jaff's Cursed Blades. Oh, look at that. That tripped me out for a second. So the blue scribes got a Tomb King spell. They got Jaff's Cursed Blades and actually buff up these warriors in the front, which is hilarious. A bit of a strange flex against the Tomb Kings using their own magic against them. So now let's watch this. We're going to see some of these guys die. So 80 models, HP on this guy. I wonder if it'll actually be substantial. Okay, they haven't lost any models yet. Their shields are still holding firm, but the shields completely buckled down. So now they're vulnerable to traditional DPS. And yeah, they still haven't lost any models. Granted, I feel like it wouldn't do that much against single entities, but even still, something to keep track of. Far side objective, Zangor is holding that one down to the middle. Tomb King's barely holding on. Their Nehekar warriors and their archers are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to this one. Lich Priest here also providing 3 capture weight. But the Kepler Guard have shown their mettle as they were able to wrestle this objective. Blue Scribe's going to be casting... Oh, look at that! A Cathay spell! Blue Scribes are so fun. So that was the lore of Yang, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Dragon's Breath. It's a great spell against Tomb King. So the Blue Scribe spells haven't been bad this game, honestly. He's gotten some good stuff, about 900 value. And you see what I'm saying? If you lowered their cost to maybe 1900 instead of 2400, I think they could be like a viable, fun choice to bring. But as it currently stands, they're just way, way too expensive. And if Tzeentch doesn't really have like a pure combat lord, I mean, Village is close. It's kind of what Chaco's doing, but they don't have like, if Eocold was a legendary lord, that would be a really nice combo. Those two together, assuming the price decrease, right? Assuming the price decrease. So Tzeentch army ability going down. Is the Tomb King's player going to notice this? Looks like his micro might be a little bit focused elsewhere on the battlefield, so Commissar here probably going to be paying the Troll Toll, and this is going to be a really disastrous one, as that's going to be hitting hard. And now we get Blue Horrors moving, and they'll, of course, put some good shooting. That was absolutely foul. And they're also weak to fire, these guys, so this big AoE from Tzeentch is going to do an additional 20% damage. That feels pretty bad. Losing 1,000 gold infantry unit like that, they're going to get melted by Blues now, which is not cost-effective at all. Doom Knights being called in. Doom Knights are an excellent unit, and they're going to be screaming across and intercepting the Skeleton Horsemen. I prefer to use the Doom Knight RORs because of the bombardment. I feel like it's really powerful, but even still, basic Doom Knights are a little bit cheaper, and they get the job done. Over in the distance, the Blue Scribes are cackling all the way to the bank. Arcane Surge popped on these bad boys to give a little bit of power recharge and Winds of Magic reserves. And overall, it looks like the Carrion will crumble, and the Blue Scribes, it was always planned. It was planned all along by Tzeentch, are going to be surviving and making their way back towards the battlefield here. So Objective 2 secured by Tzeentch, Objective 1, Objective 3 held by the Tomb Kings, but for how much longer, we'll have to see. That big bombardment there was a big turning of the tide, killing that Kepler Guard unit, and also this Tomb King here getting melted by just this Dagger from the Sour Guts. It's pretty brutal. Village, of course, not a terrible fighter. He does like AP, so he's not going to be able to punch through that armor super effectively, but at the end of the day, he's still getting the job done. So Tomb King on his way out. We do see Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch moving in to provide a little bit of stopping power, and they will melt Tomb King's infantry to some extent. Sneaky Snakes moving around, Eyes of the Desert. And there are a couple targets for the Eyes, I suppose. They could shoot at the Doom Knights, maybe help wear down. I don't know. I guess there's not a whole lot, yeah, for them to look at. It's mainly just the Doom Knights, and yeah, you could snipe the Blue Scribes and provide a little bit of anti-large against the spawn, but I can't help but think that these Eyes of the Desert probably are going to be having a little bit of trouble finding a home here, as the Tomb Prince does fall to Village the Curseling. Of course, Village not fighting alone. He's got Screamer support. He does also have some Sour Guts nearby, some Pink Horrors. And this guy's going to be crumbling with 200 HP. So back to the great beyond he goes. I'm sure he'll be reanimated a couple thousand years from now and will be quite pissed off, looking for vengeance against the forces of the Changer. On the other side, Carrion being intercepted by Doom Knights. Doom Knights will cut them to pieces pretty damn effectively. It looks like a ninja attempt over here from Commissar. Commissar trying to get the Skeleton Horseman and grab objective number 1. So maybe he's going to be able to wrestle that one, but now with the crumbling, it's not going to go down. The Doom Knights could probably scream back over there and take them out. But it does look like Flying Taco is starting to take over this game, ladies and gentlemen. The dreaded Blue Scribes. They know no bounds. And Village has been this kind of grindy presence. We do see the Lich Priest getting karate chopped here, and the Blue Scribes are still going strong with 400 HP, man, which is absolutely ridiculous. Kepler Guard moving into fight. They'll do some okay damage, but Spawn of Tzeentch will wreck them pretty bad. It'll lower their armor down to 40, at which point the Blues and the other cheaper units here are going to be able to dominate them. Call-ins, nope, just unsummoned. Zangor's being sent back to the pits, and the Tomb Kings are basically just trickling in units now. They've lost all their centerpieces, pretty much everything of value, and now they're just sending in just cheap infantry out of desperation to try and grab objectives, right? So I would feel pretty safe to call this game over. And look, oh, prophetic. Right as I say it, they feel the same thing. GG, well played. Flying Taco with the Blue Scribes, man. So in this same tournament, he actually tried to beat Catholic with Greasus, the Changeling Greasus. So this meme is stronger though. At least the Blue Scribes, like, yeah, you're maybe sacrificing like 800, 1,000, like maybe 800 gold, and they can potentially pay for themselves. But the Changeling is 3,500 baseline. So with him, you know, it's too much, especially if you're turning into Greasus, who is just so awful. But overall, yeah, we saw the power of the Chaos Warrior, the Zangors. It was pretty cool seeing the little pink shooting. I did not expect the Sour Guts to do that well, but they actually did quite nicely. And Village was neat, and Blue Scribes got some okay utility. They weren't the worst things in the world. And over at the Tomb King's army, Tomb Prince, he tried his best. He certainly did. But at the end of the day, there was too many effective Screamer engagements. We saw Screamers killing Ushabti Great Bows and Ushabti like just left and right. And I think that was the big kind of issue. They were just losing all their big centerpieces and not really getting much back for it. But GG, well played. It was a good game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.